It's the final day of the ABB FA Formula E World Championship. We're in the East End of London. It's round 16, and this here today decides who gets pole position and who will be the world champion of season 10 of ABB FIA Formula E. Green light is underway. We're underway for the session. Let's check in with Tom Brooks in the commentary box.
Later, we'll ramp it up to 350 kilowatts. Straight away, let's talk about Nick Cassidy here, Alan. Difficult free practice for him this morning. No laps on the board. Frustration we saw from him throwing the steering wheel out of the cockpit. He's up against it.
He certainly is up against it for two ways. One, that he had a tough race yesterday. There was a lot of banging and bashing as he came through the field. He only qualified 17th yesterday, and he really needs to have a clean qualifying group session here. Very critically, he had the brake-by-wire failure this morning, as you say, no laps. So therefore, for him, it's completely fresh, and he has to make his way through this group stages. If he doesn't, it's going to be a super uphill battle for him in the championship.
I think for Verline as well, I think he sort of caught the Jaguar team off guard in the race because they looked quicker in qualifying. In fact, you know, obviously Evans took pole, but all through, at no stage did Pascal put a lap in that you thought, oh, he's got the faster car. But actually, when it came to the race, the way he played his race, the way he managed his energy, showed there was speed. Because guess what? When he got the track position up front, he bolted. He opened a 3-second gap over Evans, who couldn't respond. So I think they would have learned something in the race. My point being, maybe the Porsche wasn't the quickest car in qualifying yesterday, but I think they've learned something in the race to unlock performance, which could pay dividends here. But for Cassidy now, these first few laps, Tom, is just about building the rhythm again. When you do the races, you're driving around 6-7 seconds off the qualifying pace. So now he's got to push and build the rhythm back up.
He's pushing already here on this opening lap, isn't he? Normally we see drivers doing a couple of build laps and then going into the push, but he's going straight away.
He's got no choice. He's got zero choice in this. He's got to push straight away. He's got to get something in the bank. But also notice there, Mitch Evans was watching. Mitch Evans is in the second session. He can learn everything from Nick Cassidy's run in this one as well, and that's exactly what he did yesterday to help him to pole position.
So the groups are broken up in championship order. So first, third, fifth, etc. The odd numbers in one, the evens in the other. But I think the way it's shaken up for this particular weekend.
Radio.
Cool them down, Nick. Cool them down.
So he's asking them.
Call them down at the exit. Call them down at the exit as well, as we finally got our new qualifying screen up and running that we're testing ahead of next season. So let us know if you like it. This will be what you see in 2025 for Formula E with the full timing screen for qualifying groups. And then we've got a different one for the stages as well. So if you like this qualifying screen, let us know. This is what we're trying to have a little test with at the moment. Cassidy, Roland, Bohemi, Franks in the top four at the moment. Dropping down, Dennis, Jaruvula, Fenestraz, Verline, Hughes, Tickton, Bird, all in the mix of things as well. So it's a 9 out of 9 we have at the moment. Verline in the middle, Sectep still looking fast as well. He'll hold the push out of the last two, and he boxes this lap. So several cars now starting to come into the pit lane at the end of their first runs. Is Verline going to complete the lap? Thought he might. Verline to the top with a 1:10.834. Jake Hughes, very fast as well, goes to the top now as well. Hughes on a 1:10.829. So Hughes, Verline, Cassidy, Tickton, the four going through. Then it's Bird, Roland, Bohemi, Friend, Dennis, Jaruvula, Fenestraz. Several of them now coming into the pit lane. But great job from the ERT there of Tickton to go through to the next half of the duel session as well. So back over to the boys.
In around the 5-minute mark. So I think he's gone 2-3 minutes early to try and give himself a good run on the second set to get the rhythm. He wants to get the cool laps, the push laps, in exactly the sequence he wants, because that's what caught him off guard yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday, remember, at the end of the group stages, he actually went for double push, and he felt that it was actually overheating the tyre. This gives him a little bit more effect. The other thing it gives him, Karun, is less chance of traffic and also less chance of being caught by other people, maybe a yellow flag or a red flag, because most of the people will be coming into the pits when he's starting his next push lap.
I don't think there's a guarantee that Cassidy is, safe by any stretch of the imagination. If you look at the other Jaguar powered cars, Buemi, France have been quick this weekend. Dennis has got really good form here in qualifying as well. So we'll see what happens as this session goes on. Verline obviously in this one as well, as he negotiates his way as we look here through the custom house chicane, through turns 10 and 11, then 12 and 13. This is Oliver Rowland. He was quick in free practice 3 this morning as well. 1 minute 10.2. That's the quickest time I've had all weekend. Yeah,
but the circuit, so compared to yesterday, the circuit is about 7/10 of a lap quicker. Only got very close to the wall there out of the last corner. So yesterday, Tom, in the group stages, which the phase we're in now, we saw 10.8 as the quickest time. Today, so but with that track evolution, you expect to be in the low 10s. They're still some way off that, which is why, to your point, Cassidy at an 11.0, there's no way that's good enough. You need to be in the low 10s, I think, to get through into the dual stages.
Also worth to mention as well, probably in free practice this morning, drivers were doing 350 kilowatt laps at the end of the session, as opposed to 300 kilowatts that we have in these group stages. So here is Cassidy then, 5th fastest for him at the moment. 5 minutes left of this session. So you've got a handful of drivers out on track. Team radio.
Okay, Nick, there's no cars on track behind you. Plan is out, prep, push, cool push.
Dream scenario then for Cassidy, having a nice bit of clear track, because we have seen traffic being a problem. The unique layouts and characteristics of this circuit mean that there are a lot of blind corners. This is Rowland getting close to the wall, by the way, that Karim was mentioning a few moments ago, out of the final corner, right up against it. This is where he came to blows with Da Costa in the race. Big snap of oversteer on the exit of turn 20.
The answer, sorry, I say the incident, I should say, not the incident between Rowland and Da Costa yesterday was just pure stubbornness, wasn't it? It was. Neither driver wanting to give up, which just ended up in a mess. Here we go, Cassidy getting going. He's got five minutes to go, but at this point he might be doing a build lap just to try and get the tyres into the right window. It doesn't look like he's really attacking it. So to me, this looks like a build lap here. He's hustling a bit more as it gets going, so maybe he's just thinking about the way he attracks the first sector of the lap, because clearly he was struggling with overheating the rear tyres towards the end of the lap. Maybe he thinks I just need to manage the first part. You see him weaving around his build, but it's tricky, to explain to people who haven't watched qualifying before. Build laps are about getting the tyre temperatures into the optimum window for where you think you want it for the fast push lap, and different teams and different drivers will have different approaches, but broadly they've all got a target which they will come up on the dashboard in terms of where they want that number to be.
Verline here also on a build lap as well. He's got Nick Cassidy just up the road in front of him. Alan, if we look at Cassidy in his season so far and where he has ended up going wrong in the last few rounds of the championship, his championship lead was down from 25. Now he's the driver who's hunting in the title battle, and obviously he's had a difficult start to the day as well. What's that like from a driver's perspective? How do you put that to the back of your mind?
Well, it's very difficult because you had a big lead. He was within 1 lap of effectively. Here's his radio.
And push next lap. Push, cool, push. You think the other cars around you are in sync?
Push, cool, push is their strategy at the moment, and he's the fastest in the first sector. But it's a very difficult thing because he was within 1 lap of basically putting one hand on the trophy in Portland with another victory, and we thought it's easy for him, and then suddenly it's all dragged away. He's got to reset his mind. He's got to put everything behind him now and just focus on this lap. Nothing else matters, because without this lap he doesn't have the opportunity to go to the next stage of qualifying, and his competition is without doubt going to be competitive as well.
Well, Cassidy yesterday as well did not have the better run around. If you remember, in the session yesterday, he was 9th and he started 17th on the grid on the 9th row. Can Cassidy do better and get himself up there as well? This is a world championship on the line for Nick Cassidy, and he jumps to the top. It's a 1 of the 10, 3-2-3. He is 3.5 tenths faster than Rowland at the moment. So it's Cassidy and Verline, the 2 championship protagonists we have to watch at the moment. We will open them up for you on the board, Verline and Cassidy. So we've highlighted the 2 championship protagonists for you so that you know where we're going, where we need to have it. So it's 3 points for pole position, remember. Right now we're at 300 kilowatts per hour. We expect it to get faster later on in the session. Verline is, he's looking okay. He's fast in sector 2, but he was off in sector 1. I don't think it's going to be as good as a lap. He was 0.222 down in the middle sector. Pascal Verline into the last corner, gives it the welly of electric power across the short line, and it's second fastest. It's a 1:10.595. Cassidy finding 2.5 tenths is insane. It's 0.272 between them at the moment. So yeah, let's have a look where Cassidy got that time. Over the hill and far away. Let's have a listen to what he says.
Nice one. Nice. Cool down. That's P1.
That's
currently by 3/10. I'll update you.
That's a release of pressure there. Yeah, it's just like a pressure cooker and suddenly release of pressure. You know, there was a lot of tension within that cockpit.
Yeah, he knows that that was an important lap, doesn't it? Cassidy sits at the top of the pile by 2.7 tenths of a second, making his way through, and he's already flying in that first sector. This is his final flying lap of the session then. Verline second, Roland third, Hughes fourth at the moment. Would expect these personal best times to come in. What's it like there for Cassidy? Can he improve in the first sector? Not quite. Down by
He's down. He's down. I think
Yeah,
he's
Cassidy can't improve in that middle sector. He's finding the time away from it. Just got to have the push, got to have the time, got to find something to change about it. It's a hard one to get right, but it does pay off in the end, in the long run. Frines across the line then. He's sixth fastest. Frines goes fourth, kicks out Hughes. Now yesterday, Verline, Buemi, Roland and Frines got through. Cassidy didn't. So now we've got Verline second. Cassidy ends the session. Buemi is going to take the flag first. He goes sixth. Cassidy takes the top spot. 4 tenths down his own best lap time. Jake Dennis is improving. The man who caused so much drama yesterday. He's into the last corner now. Turns 19 and then into turn 20. The last corner here at the London E-Prix. Boot it to the line. Let's see who's going to be hot or not. Dennis goes 8th fastest. He is not, but he's matched Fenestraz's time to the nearest thousandth of a second. Roland's confirmed in 3rd place. Fenestraz in 7th. Sam Bird goes 3rd. Frines is facing elimination. Dan Ticktum's in there. The 2 championship protagonists, though, are through. Ticktum goes into 6th. We could have a duel that has our championship protagonist alongside each other. That's going to be fantastic. Verline might end the session fastest. No. So I don't think we're going to see anything from Frines. No, I don't think we are. I think that's the order. It's Cassidy, Verline, Bird and Frines going through. Roland, Jeruvela, Ticktum, Hughes, Buemi and Fenestraz miss out. Wow, what a session that was.
Verline, Sam Bird and Robin Frines for company.
That was crucial. The Verline lap at the end didn't really matter because he was through anyway. That was crucial for Cassidy psychologically.
Okay, sorry I couldn't improve. I did the best job I could.
You did, mate. No one else is improving either. I'll keep you updated. You're still P1 at the moment.
So cool the tyres down, okay?
Yeah, made firm.
Cassidy fastest at the end of Group A qualifying. Group B on the way next.
Hate when they go to ad break.
Well, a frantic end. Qualifying then. Lots of improvements coming through at the end of that session, but ultimately...
Oh, they can't even get that right. TNT missed the ad break slot they even had for the ad break. That's just a joke. Honest to God, they missed their own break, and they're the host feed this weekend as well. I don't know anymore with TNT. They've killed Formula E in this country. I'm trying to write and talk at the same time, and I can't. So it's all a mess coming into it. There we see who's happening next. Buemi, we had a really bad session compared to yesterday. I think my pen's broke. So I'm just trying to write down in it looks like a 2-year-old's written it. So, going through to the next session, Evans, DaCosta, Vern, Gunther, Van Dorn, Nato, Muller, Mortara, De Vries, Seta Kamara, and Degrassi going through. So let's highlight the championship protagonist in this session. So where is Evans? He's number 1. I could have just left him. There we go. So Evans is our title protagonist that we need to keep our eye on as well. Cassidy seems very happy with himself overall, which I suppose is the best thing possible to go into it, and still should be quite good. The duels coming up later will be quite an interesting session as well. Reminder that we're in a split commentary box today. So around about 1:10, we're going to move. 1:05 actually. So in between the duels, I think we're going to move to the next com box and see what happens from there. 12-minute session, yeah. So just before the duels begin, we'll move to the next commentary box so that we can get action. Maybe after the quarterfinals, maybe. See how that one goes. I'd like to hold back to the world feed shortly, but that's going to take time. Might not even happen because the green light's going to go on in a few moments' time. But while we have it, let's head over to Tom Brooks at the start then of Group B for the London E-Prix round 16 of the season. Very crucial World Championship deciding day in Season 10.
Sadly, we lose Ollie Rowland, Jehan Daruvula, Dan Ticktum, Jake Hughes, etc. And also, crucially, reigning champion, at least for the next few hours or so, Jake Dennis down there. Over to Group B then. This has got Mitch Evans for Jaguar TCS Racing, Antonio Felix da Costa, John Riverne, Max Gunther, Stoffel Van Dorn, Norman Nato, Nico Muller, Edo Mortara, Nick de Vries, the two Mahindras, as well as Sergio Sese Camara and Lucas de Grassi, all in the group. 4 drivers will progress forward out of the 11. That will give us the lineup for the duels in the quarterfinals. Looking forward to seeing how that one is going to work out. 24 hours ago, Mitch Evans was on pole position, came home second place, was disappointed though, obviously, because Pascal Wehrlein, his nearest championship rival, won and took the title lead. And this is what it means here for Nick Cassidy. Again, a very challenging morning for him. That brake-by-wire issue costing him any running in free practice 3, and he came out swinging, didn't he? So drivers then out on track as the green flag flies. Group B qualifying is back underway. A reminder of the championship points. Pascal Wehrlein on 180. 3 points to the good of Mitch Evans. 7 points to the good of Nick Cassidy. And of course those 3 points on offer for pole position here later on as well. Virtual race engineer, expected lap time to reach the duels 1:10.5 is what we reckon. Now what about Mitch Evans? Can he do it again 24 hours later?
He's got the potential. You know, he's had the speed yesterday in qualifying. I mean, he did a 10.2 in the dual stage of qualifying, which is like 4 tenths quicker than anything anyone else could manage, really. So, you know, he's clearly hooked up around here in terms of 1 lap pace. Was quick here last year. So, absolutely, I think Jaguar could have a real chance of ending up at the top of both group stages here.
So drivers then out on their build laps at the moment. There is Mitch Evans just behind them. You've got Antonio Felix da Costa in the Tag Heuer Porsche, now out of contention for the Drivers' Championship. But it helps Pascal Wehrlein in another sense because he can play rear gunner and hopefully they can work together in the races to try and figure out that strategy, Alan. What do you reckon?
Yes, that's theory. I think we saw yesterday that theory and reality sometimes don't actually go together. It looks as if it is definitely a lot trickier than that round here. And I think at this stage of the game, every driver will want to try and control their own destiny a little bit. Certainly within Porsche, they'll always try to make it work if they can. But it's got to come down to Pascal to deliver it at the end of the day, not his teammate.
So, you know, you can see the difference, right? He's gone for the push lap straight away rather than a build lap, but the first sector is not there. When typically it's the front tires that you just can't get enough bite, enough grip from, you know, that first braking phase and the first sequence of corners. You don't have the front bite. The first sector time 25.2, you know, that's a good 4 tenths down from where you'd want to be, really.
Yeah, plenty of time for things to improve over the course of this session. You can see they're pushing the front tyres as he goes through turn 17, just trying to get some heat into them. These Hankooks, very finite operating window, and that ultimately is what cost Cassidy the opportunity to improve in lap time at the end of that session. Out of the final corner comes da Costa, and you can see there 1:13, so significantly slower. 1:10.5 is what our virtual race engineer reckons the time is going to be. In terms of prowess here at this circuit for Antonio Felix da Costa, it's not been a particularly happy hunting ground. He's only had 1 top 4 start, and that was back in 2022. Team radio.
I still have the sound when I turn left.
Trying to work out what that's relating to. He was complaining of a rattling on the car in practice this morning. So, front-end related issue by the sounds of things there for Mitch Evans.
That's not what you want going into qualifying, because it's, you know, you're into a Parc Fermé situation, and also the way that the schedule works, you can't afford to spend even 3 or 4 minutes in the pit garage looking at things. So if he's clouted a curb or something and it's done a bit of damage in the steering rack, it's impossible for them to tell in the middle of the session, really.
Touching something, there's, you know, lots of bit of body work and things like that. It's just could be, there's so many different things. If it's a rack or something, then it's a bit more fundamental, and that's a bit of an issue. But we'll see with the lap time when he comes through.
So Da Costa's done the first benchmark of a 10.8, still some way away from the 10.3 we saw from Cassidy in the first group. Evans there, a bit slower, so they're just dialing themselves in, aren't they? You know, in theory, the track now should be getting a bit cleaner and a bit quicker. Van Dorn there does a 10.6. So, you know, in terms of track condition, we've seen a 10.3, which is where that ended. This should be starting at that level. And this is where we're seeing the drivers and the tyres just dialing themselves into the window.
Very unique circuit, this, not only in terms of the layout, the fact that it's indoors and outdoors, but also the surface changes. Indoors, it's like a sandpaper, really coarse, hard surface. As you see Da Costa clattering over the curbs there, taking a right whack on the inside front through turn 10. But on the outside, you've got concrete, you've got loads of different surface changes as well.
Yeah, there's about 5 different surfaces on this track, isn't it?
Well, that's because it's an indoor-outdoor concrete, grass. It's just so weird how we've got it here, because the Excel centre is used for so much because it's an exhibition centre. So it's just insane. It's absolutely insane what you've got to put up with here. Da Costa comes in. So at the end of the sort of halfway stage of this session, we've got Van Dorn, Da Costa, Sedi Kamara, De Grassi inside the top 4. This is your championship contender, Mitch Evans. He's second in the title hunt now. Coming underneath the bridge as well at turn 6, 7 and 8. Into turn 9. Sounds okay. Energy of power over the bumps.
Yeah.
Just a lap review, really. He's 5th.
It's like pattering on the left front, isn't it?
Yeah, it's as if it feels like a bit of bodywork, either touching the ground or a tyre.
Let's have a look at the onboard camera on the wheel.
When he's turning left, there's something touching on something else that's rotating, basically.
Well, they've brought him in and they're checking the front wing to see if that's going to be a difference. I think they're going to change that tyre and see if they can get anything sorted, because the last thing you want is a puncture to take place at the moment. So everyone's back in the pit lane then, and we're nearing the crescendo point to this session.
6 minutes to go. That's what I was saying. It's so tight with the run plan.
Or fundamental concern. If it was fundamental concern, then you would at least have a look in, especially in the right front, which if it's turning left, then normally it's loading onto that right front area. So, in fact, at the moment, I would suggest that they're willing to just let it run.
Well, we'll wait and see what happens there for Mitch Evans, and whether that is a problem that is going to cost him a position in the duels. At the moment, he's out of that by a few hundredths of a second, courtesy of Lucas Di Grassi, but a lot of time for things to improve. Like we said, we're expecting the time to be the cut-off of the duels, a 1:10.5. We're not even reaching that in the fastest time of the session. Team radio.
Which seems to be the exit 13. But
Yeah, I got the curb really badly. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I got the curb really bad and unsettled the car. I brushed the wall on exit of...
So Evans out of pit lane then, ready to go.
The benefit there for Evans is, having seen Cassidy go before, what the engineers would have done is looked at his lap of data in comparison with Cassidy. So they're just giving a bit of advice where, you know, he's winning or losing in comparison to Cassidy, and just a bit of, that's a fairly normal conversation. Wonder what's happened to Gunther, because he hasn't done a lap time that's representative yet. Yesterday, he actually looked like, well, he was guaranteed pretty much get second place, and was not far behind Verline till he had that gearbox failure. So, so far, he's obviously not done a time on the board, but he had the speed yesterday.
Yeah, technically, he's out of the pit lane. He's on the track at the moment, so whether he's just doing a different run plan or something, but it doesn't seem like the sort of traditional thing that we would be expecting for Max Gunther. Just here inside the Porsche pit box, Pascal Verline and Florian modelling up. Bit of a fist bump. Verline, of course, making it through into the duels.
So this order's going to jumble up, isn't it? You know, we got De Grassi, Sergio, set the camera up there in the top 4. We got Evans, Vern, maybe Gunter outside.
In sync with cars behind.
So same team radio message there, just talking about the gaps between the cars. Because this being a group stage of qualifying, this is one of the most congested parts of the weekend here. You've got to be careful that you don't get into lap traffic on your flyer.
Yeah, and they also think you're in sync, which means you're all doing the same sequence of push, cool, push at the same time, which means you're less risk of getting stuck in traffic.
And the front of the car lifts up and turns really well through those low-speed 90-degree corners.
Yeah, that's much better first sector, isn't it? 24/7, that's now getting into where they want to be. Let's see, this is where he complained about hitting the curb, this next curb here on the right-hand side, and seems to have got away with it quite well as we come up. But further around, Gunter now has found the speed. So whatever issue you had in the first set, they clearly solved it. He's gone faster than anyone in the first sector. Evans still up on time, but not by as much as I would have expected to see.
Yeah.
No, Gunther's only in there as well. It's first sector 24.738, second sector 23.799. Mitch Evans, though, will come across the line. Have they repaired that car enough as he comes up towards it? Yes, Evans to the top. 1, 2, 3 faster in the 10s. It's a 1:10.509. Vern goes second. Van Dorn still third. Time still coming in. What can Max Gunther do, though? A brand new gearbox fitted after it failed yesterday in the session. Gunther goes 8th. He does not improve. He lost a lot of time in that final sector. He lost 6/10 in that last sector alone. Nato goes 4th. That pushes Costa down. Seta Kamara is in 6th position. De Vries goes 8th. So Gunther 9th at the moment on the board with 2 minutes to go of this session. Mortara's up to 9th ahead of teammate De Vries. And De Grassi goes into 5th place ahead of De Costa. 2 minutes to go then. It's Evans, Van Dorn, Vern, Nato, your top 4, and everyone doing another lap time. It's a 1:10 lap here at London. Out of the last corner, pedal down, and De Costa stays 6th. Not improving. Have a time for a call and a push. But this is getting a bit silly now in terms of that we can't figure out exactly what's causing what in terms of differentials. Now, this is why Gunther lost 6/10 of a second. Made a mistake coming down into turn 16. So through 15, the little king gets over the bump, the rear steps out into where attack mode is now in turn 16. He's lost it, gone straight, and lost 6/10 of a second with underbraking. So that's why there's a problem there. So, yeah. Evans looking fast as he starts another time. He's already top, 1:10.509 with a minute to go. This will be his last run in qualifying. Of course, you push it. You've got to push it. Tyres will stay, and it's if you can find any time to improve upon. Jean-Eric Vern certainly has. His first sector is a 24.718. So a very strong time coming there from Jean-Eric Vern. Here's Evans' radio.
How safe are we? Very safe. You'll almost get a double push in, depending on...
Joseph Rocker there.
Yeah, so Evans can push if you want to. I thought that would be the case as well, to try and find the deltas. Evans sliding around everywhere at the moment as he comes in. 29 thousandths down his own best time. Gunther's found some space again in that first sector, so Vern's in there too. So it's only really Nato that's got to worry about being knocked out as Cassidy watches on to see whether his teammate or not will go through. Remember, Jaguar also fighting for the Constructors and the Manufacturers Championship across the line. Evans doesn't improve, but he is still fastest as the checkered flag comes out. Is anyone else going to have any differentials? This is the question. Jean-Eric Vern, he stays into second place, 83 thousandths off. Gunther's looking very quick as he comes across the line. Gunther goes top! Gunther goes top! Out goes Nato. That allows Stoffel Van Dorn, who's coming up to the line now. Does Van Dorn improve? Yeah, he goes ahead of Jean-Eric Vern in third. But now we've got everybody else waiting to come through, and they're on good times as well, like De Grassi, fastest first sector of anybody. So far, 24.985. That's because it's a personal best, but okay, that's 4/10 off of Gunther's time. It might not be what you think it is. De Costa's P7 at the moment, if he can find something. De Grassi still left, so Nato 5th, Muller 8th, Seta Kamara 9th, Mortara 10th, De Vries 11th. So it's all down now across the line. De Costa goes into 5th position. He doesn't improve. What about Lucas de Grassi? He boxes the lap. Gunther Evans, Van Dorn Verne go through to the duels.
A 10.39. Evans a bit slower. But you'd have to say that Nick Cassidy's time, overall, still the quickest we've seen today in terms of the two groups of qualifying.
And look at the bottom of it as well, 10th and 11th, the two Mahindras. Now, both of those cars finished in the points yesterday. And so from that point of view, you know, that's a very, very big change of circumstances from one day to the other.
And also, as well, for 3 Stellantis power cars, Maserati, DS Penske's both in there as well. So good sessions for those machines. Let's see whether they are going to upset the apple carts.
All right, good job, mate. That's P1. Well done. Good job.
That was the one.
Max on a mission in Group B qualifying then as he goes to the top of the pile. Cruelly denied a podium yesterday as a result of that gearbox failure right in the dying stages of the race. You see the delight for Jay Penske and for DS here in the garage as both of those drivers make it through. Stoffel Van Dorn and Jean-Eric Verne. Van Dorn, of course, onto pastures new in 2025 in Formula E. Destination unknown at the moment. Could possibly be the Maserati that Max Günther is sitting in at the moment, where he will be. And Jean-Eric Verne will also be in the duels as well. Antonio Felix da Costa. It's a shame for him, and also it puts Porsche a little bit of a disadvantage. That team's championship, we know that Jaguar have got a greater possibility of taking it here this afternoon, but da Costa being further up the order at a track that's difficult to overtake would certainly not have done them any harm. Let's get Group B qualifying classification then confirmed for you. Here in London for round 16, Max Günther, Mitch Evans, Stoffel Van Dorn and Jean-Eric Verne are the top 4 drivers that go forwards. Felix da Costa, Nato, De Grassi, Muller, Sette Camera, Mortara and De Vries do not make it through. What a difference a day makes there for the 2 Mahindra drivers, down in 10th and 11th place after 2 top 5 finishes here in London yesterday. They're going to have a fair old task to repeat that feat here this afternoon. But duels on the way very shortly. We'll get the quarterfinals ready to go.
Finally, TNT gets something right on that one as well. So, Cassidy, Verline, Bird, Frines go through from Group A. Group B, Gunther, Evans, Van Dorn and Verne go through. It does mean that it's out for Roland, Jeruvala, Ticktum, Hughes, Boemi, Fenestraz and Dennis, da Costa, Nato, De Grassi, Muller, Sette Camara, Mortara and De Vries. They'll be forming up, and the first duel will be Sam Bird versus Pascal Verline in the championship hunt as well. So he'll be our next driver heading out there onto the circuit shortly, and that's going to be a fascinating little run around to see what we're going to have. And I quite like that idea. It's going to be quite an interesting little fight coming through when we get through. Now, we'll be transferring over to the secondary commentary box shortly, because I don't think we'll get the duels in before 20 past when we need to go on air for Formula 1. So that's the case at the moment. Well, 10 past, I mean, is when we're going on air for Formula 1. So I think it's 20 minutes time. So we might do. If it's 10 minutes, 10 minutes. It's entirely possible. When we never knew when the duels are actually going to start. They never 100% tell us when they will come on. So we sort of have to go and find out for ourselves via all of the data systems. And it does get a little bit difficult to find out, but we have the results for FIA Formula E, so that tells us the timetable that we can all tell you about. So it's round 16, event information, timetable. Quarterfinal is at 1:05. Yeah. So that is a 15-minute wait. Why? Recharge the cars. But still, it's a bit daft to have such a long gap, because it's literally like a 25-minute gap. It's a 15-minute gap, 15 minutes in total. So as soon as TNT come back, we'll be switching over to the secondary commentary box, and Megan will be hosting the next part of the pre-show alongside Omi for Formula 1, and getting all that latest information and jargon getting out there as well. And then semi-final, so final as well before Martin's grid walk. Seems good to me, as we'll wait to see. It's going to be a very interesting session, though. So much on the line as well. Now we've got to now go up to the other box and transfer over to. But still, it's back to back to back to back to back now. We don't get much chance to rest here today with Formula E. But we're all set now. So let's hand back over to TNT Sports for the latest news as we're around about 10 minutes away from all the action getting kicked off here as well.
Right, so there we have it. Groups A and B have gone out for qualifying. Let's get straight into it. Group A, Nick Cassidy, massively under pressure. We saw how animated he was earlier on today with some issues with the car, but he went out there and delivered, Katie.
Yeah, he did. You could see how happy the whole team were. He was giving everyone hugs as he came back in. It's really good to change the energy, set the tone. He's now going to refocus, try and do the best he can in the duels. But I think Group A was more competitive than Group B, so it was kind of double pressure going into that. So he really pulled it out of the bag. I think Jaguar can be really happy with that.
You, what did you call it, Alan? A release of pressure in commentary?
It's like a pressure cooker.
Yeah.
You could hear it there, and also just the slapping of the car and the high fives and everything else. It's like he had got pole position. He's only got through the group stages, but in comparison to the problems he had in practice this morning, that is like a victory in a way.
Yeah, you could sense it, couldn't you? He had that refocus. He looked just like a happier man, put it that way, didn't he? Your friend spoke about Pascal Wehrlein on a regular basis this weekend already, Andre. He's not giving anybody an inch, is he? That's an important part that he's playing as the one to be chased right now.
No, he's really on it, and I think they improved their performance from the qualifying yesterday, so he put a really great lap together. I think they're a little bit weaker on the 350 laps, so let's see in the duels. I think the Jaguars are very good on the high power laps, but yeah, they improved, so he's there, and I think it's going to be a great showdown. And those 3 points for qualifying, for pole position, they're going to be crucial for whoever gets it for the championship.
They are indeed. Right, let's go to Karun, shall we? I think he's having a bit more of an in-depth look at those laps.
Yeah. Yes, thank you, JJ. We've got the two Jaguar drivers up on the pad because they are the two title contenders. Cassidy was fastest in Group A, Evans second fastest in Group B. So let's see how the laps compare. It was 2 tenths at the end in terms of the overall lap. First part of the lap there, both drivers really hustling the car, but neat and tidy, and not much to choose. There's a white line just there, and you can see on the entry to the right-hander, absolutely identical through the first sequence of corners. Long double right here before you drop downhill towards this sort of bus stop around here. And Cassidy carried just a little bit more momentum through that part. So actually, if I pull it along here, there's a stop sign, and you can see his nose is ever so slightly front. So he's gained a little bit. Now watch as they put the power down. Watch Cassidy's hands there on the left. Big snaps of oversteer. Evans also a little bit, but it does seem like Cassidy just balancing the rear of the car a bit more. But this next sequence through the custom house chicane, this is where Evans just, I think, carried a bit more understeer. Maybe a bit cautious as well on this lap because we heard him on the radio earlier saying he touched the wall. So maybe a bit cautious on this run. Cassidy carried more momentum through the chicane, carried momentum through the second part of the chicane as well. So when they came out of this, there's a patch of tarmac just there, you can see, and Nick has now gained this amount. Look how much he's now ahead of his teammates. So that run through the chicane is where he's picked up some time. Watch Evans's hand here as we get to 16. Watch his left hand. He moves it to the bottom of the steering wheel to try and just get the steering lock in. And this is something I've noticed he does a bit differently to Nick, and at quite a few places we'll see it again up at the penultimate corner here, the right-hander. But the last stretch of the lap, not much to choose between the drivers. I think Cassidy, again, just carrying a bit more speed through these last two and eking out a little bit more of a gap. But really, you know, it was nip and tuck for the first sector of the lap. The run through the chicane is where Cassidy gained it, and again, a little bit at the end of the lap.
Thank you very much, Karun. Fascinating stuff there. Let's get into Group B, shall we, before we head back. The pressure was on Mitch Evans. It really was. You know, his two contenders had gone through to the duels. He had to deliver, didn't he?
Yeah, definitely. And he didn't really have a smooth through practice 3 with issues on the car. And but he put the lap together. He knows he has a good car, and he can stay cool in these moments. So he's in a really good position to maybe repeat the performance from yesterday.
He is indeed. Well, thank you very much. We're going to get back to these duels, shall we? So let's send you back to Tom Brooks.
So then, ready to go for the duels for the final time in 2024 for the Hankook London E-Prix. Quarterfinals about to get underway very, very shortly. It's been a hugely exciting affair so far today. The upshot is that the three main protagonists in the Drivers' Championship are all through to the duels and all at the moment have an opportunity to fight for pole position. Let's see whether they're going to be able to translate that into a semi-final and then, of course, a final position. Here are some highlights then from the group stages of qualifying. Let's head down, though, to Nikki, who is catching up with team principal for Jaguar, James Barkley. Both their drivers, Mitch Evans and Nick Cassidy, making it through into the quarterfinal duels. So let's catch up and see what James has made of all of this.
Well, James Barkley, that looked like an incredibly intense session, but you got the result you needed. A question for you. You've got Nick Cassidy going up against Robin Freins in the next stage of the duels. Obviously, the fact that Envision are a customer of yours, is there going to be a little chat going on with the team principal, Sylvain Filippi?
You know, ultimately, yeah, we're a factory and a customer team, and you know, they obviously want to also fight for podiums. Nicky is the reality, but you know, I think it's a help, don't hinder scenario. But yeah, for qualifying, I'll be honest and say that you've not been had a conversation around slowing down to let us through. You know, I think to be fair, that's a tough call to ask them. But yeah, I think over the course of the day, it's about helping, not hindering.
Okay, and what is the atmosphere like at the moment? Obviously, going into the quarterfinals of the duels, very intense moment for the team.
Yeah, no, firstly, we spoke just before quali after a very difficult FP3, and I said we have two world-class athletes, and I think that's exactly what you've seen. Just massive hats off. No practice. I said it's like being a golf without having a warm-up, and he's just going to hit the longest drive of anybody, and that's just phenomenal. So world-class performance from Nick. Mitch did a fantastic job. Not quite happy with a couple of things, so we try and get that right, but yeah, he's done an amazing job as well. So as a team, getting the cars turned around and both drivers performing, I couldn't be happier. From here, it's the icing on the cake now. Let's see how far forward we can get.
Okay, well, thank you. We'll let you get back to running the ship. Good luck. Thanks very much, James Barkley.
Nikki, quarterfinal duels then coming up for you. Sam Bird versus Pascal Wehrlein, Robin Freins versus Nick Cassidy, Stoffel Van Dorn and Mitch Evans, Jean-Eric Verne and Max Günther. Two drivers from each of those will go through into their groups, four drivers facing off in the semis, and then two drivers in the front row fight for pole position, and those all-important 3 points. I suppose the good thing is we've got the three championship contenders all in this one here, Karun.
Look at the crowd. Yeah, I was amazed yesterday how big the crowd was for qualifying. And, you know, Phil obviously for the race, but it was amazing how many people came for qualifying yesterday, and nice to see they're back again today.
And this morning, Karun and I sat just at the exit of the first corners. It bleeds into turn 2, 3 and 4 and watched from there. And it was absolutely rammed with fans already at that time, but it was also really, really good to see how the cars were coming through that agile, very, very important first sector.
Chirping their tyres, I think you used the phrase.
Yes, there was a lot of chirping with the front tyres as they were throwing it left and right. Pascal Wehrlein's car.
Yeah, he'll be facing off with Sam Bird in a few moments' time. So into the duels, then we go up from 300 to 350 kilowatts of power. Greater amount of power underneath your right foot, but it also means a bit of a change in driving style here.
Yeah, it does a little bit, because clearly you've got a bigger percentage of power that's going through the rear tyres only, and you've been running at 300 kilowatts in the group stages. You only also have 1 lap to do it, so basically you're out and push and attack, and so therefore you've got to kind of reset your mind. Also interesting that there seems to be a slight change in dynamic about competitiveness between the 300 kilowatt and the 350. Very subtle, but Andre Lotterer was saying just earlier on that actually maybe the Jaguars have got a slight advantage over the Porsche. The Porsche's very good in the 300 kilowatt, but on the 350s on one singular lap, then maybe the Jaguars are a little bit more agile.
Well, the Jaguar's got very good traction, isn't it? I mean, you've got that little extra power, you know, to put the power down.
I think
the way their systems work as well, you know, it allows it, A, the car we know rotates very well, so the drivers can get the steering wheel straight, but B, they've got good traction. So Sam Bird can do his former employers at Jaguar a big favour here, can he, by knocking Pascal Wehrlein out in this first quarterfinal?
Certainly can. 14% of you, rather, I should say, over 86 reckon it will go the way of Sam Bird. So the momentum very much with Pascal Wehrlein as it stands for now.
It's a Scotsman putting money on the table.
I never thought I'd see the day. At least he's not got...
What's wrong with you?
All I can see is there's no one else putting the counter
Also,
bet back down again, so I'm putting it back in my pocket.
It's got a hole in it. He's putting down fake Monopoly money. He's betting with fake money.
But this is...
I knew there was a catch to this.
But this is definitely one that Pascal should, in theory, go through. He's got the speed, he's got the consistency, he's got the performance without question. But Sam Bird is also... he's quick. He's got a little bit of confidence after some of the performance he's had in the last couple of races. And so, you know, I would never say that this is a foregone conclusion, but on paper it should definitely be Pascal.
I mean, Verline should really be in it. That's the question. Ed Hunter is watching on, and he's trackside for us over there. Hello, Ed. Nice to see you. Hopefully you're enjoying London in the quarterfinals. So we'll get the quarterfinals out of the way. Then we'll go on air for Formula One. And straight over to the pit lane with Ted Kravitz and all that jazz. And then Megan will take over as well. And I'll go over and finish Formula E. Megan will come here. We're just sort of trying to move around as quickly as possible today. It's not going to be as smooth as what we usually have it as. But them's the breaks sometimes in motorsport. We begin Bird versus Verline in the first quarter-final. Bird on his lap time, down towards turn number 1, slams on the brakes, flicks the car in, left, then the right, then the left again at turn 3, downhill. We go to turn 4, brisk into the sunlight for the first time on the lap as they continue to push hard. Is it going to be an okay run around for Verline? That's the question. Several times the cars just change and twist over. It's never always 100% the same as they jump over the hill. Down they come. Bird braking. Controls 1, controls 2. Now, first sector time, I can tell you, Verline is up. Bird's is a 24.970. Verline is a 24.735. Second sector for Bird, 23.709. Verline, 23.704. But it's still 0.2 of a second at this current time. So Verline in the title hunt will try and see what he's got to offer. Out of the last corner, Sam Bird's opening gambit. His only one in this quarterfinal is a 1:10.598. Pascal Verline will come in now to the last 2 corners. Is the championship leader through to the semi-finals by 0.3 of a second? Yes, he is. 0.382. It is through for Pascal Verline. That's how you do it.
Because he did 10.4 with 300 kilowatts, so only 0.2 of a second. I thought maybe a little bit more would have came out of that. The tyres obviously coming from the fact that they've just came out of the groups, maybe not at optimum. I think he'll need to have more in the bag later on, that's for sure.
But it was a safe lap, wasn't it? You know, in his perspective, it's better to do a safe lap because he knows, you know, Bird, the Nissan package hasn't really been a contender for pole. So get a safe lap through, get through the next stage, and he's at least guaranteed himself a position on the first 2 rows of the grid, which for Verline is super critical.
Quarterfinal 2, Robin Freins versus Nick Cassidy. 87% if you reckon it'll go the way of Cassidy. Then 17th on the grid, just to remind you.
17th yesterday in the sessions order. Now, I've already transferred my notes up to commentary box B because we're in a very quick turnover. So hopefully the quarterfinals will be over, then I can switch over, give it and start everything and give it over to Megan for a few moments as well. Cassidy looking strong. Again, just jumping. Now, first sector for Robin Freins is a 24.610. Cassidy, remembers, also in the title hunt. That's why he's highlighted on your monitor in front of us as well. Is he going to go through? No. Cassidy, the first sector, is a 24.576. 34 thousandths of a second between them at the moment. Cassidy needs these 3 points after he was leading the championship. He's now gone backwards. He's the driver very much on the back foot. Cassidy's sliding around and he's nearly in the wall and he brushes the wall. He's up by 0.2. Freins made a mistake as well. Freins' sector, 24.012. Freins' lap time is up towards the line now, and the Envision does a 1:10.318. What can Cassidy do? He's up by about 1/10 of a second, but he's losing more and more time. It's going to be very close across the line. Is Cassidy going to be versing Verline in the semi-finals? Yes, he is! What a semi-final we've got lined up! Verline goes through! And next up it's Van Dorn versus Evans, another championship pairing. We could have all three lining up 1, 2, 3 on the grid. Fantastic!
But he will be going head-to-head with Pascal Verline.
I was going to say, two of our championship contenders through to the semis. Let's see what the third one does now. He's up against Stoffel Van Dorn. Cassidy at the chicane, this is the one we're talking about here, Alan, where he just hammered that curb. And watch how it lands. Then that put him offline, end up hitting the other curb, which is not what you want. I think if we follow the onboard round to the next bit, again here, look, slightly offline, touches the wall, I think, on the left. Yeah, look, big snap of oversteer. I think it was the rear left that glanced the wall. And that, to be fair, he managed to put that out of his mind and still get the nose into the apex of 16.
Yeah, certainly the chicane, there's a lot of time on the table for him, so that 10-2 actually could have been a 10-1, maybe even a 10-0 if he's tidies up all of that section. Very, very aggressive, but ultimately through.
Cassidy then off for a visit to the chiropractor at the end of this session. Stoffel Van Dorn and Mitch Evans going head-to-head against one another. Van Dorn and that DS have looked pretty handy so far this weekend. A little bit deep almost into that first corner there for Evans. Let's see what it looks like as we head through the rest of the first sector.
It's quite nice there. He was able to accelerate quickly between the two corners. This is the fast chicane at the back. Looks nice and gentle there for Van Dorn. Clips the curbs a little bit. There you see the barrier on the left-hand side rubbed away where we had Nick Cassidy touching it earlier on.
3,000s in it at the first sector between these two drivers. This is looking pretty nifty between the two. A little bit deep into turn 10 there for Evans. That's going to cost him.
Yeah, it really is pushing the time now limit, isn't he? Van Dorn, his lap time is a 1:10.434. Evans is faster every single sector by 4/10 of a second. Getting closer to 2/10. Evans is losing a bit of time in the middle sector. Can he do it? Are we going to have all three championship protagonists on the semi-finals battling out for a final? Yes, we are! Evans tops it! That confirms it! We will have at least one championship protagonist taking pole position ahead of the race later. 3 out of the 4. And my bet, it's going to be Cassidy versus Evans for pole. Wow! All three title contenders inside the first 2 rows of the grid. This is going to be absolutely fantastic. And Evans was pushing on that last lap time as well. He was jumping over the curbs. Vernon Gunther next up then for their last one. Here's Evans.
So, I mean, we're all talking about the extra 3 points for the 3 title contenders. Gunther could end up with the 3 points here.
Yeah, he's got nothing to lose here as Max Gunther, and he's got the bit between his teeth after the disappointment of yesterday.
Yeah, the disappointment yesterday, this morning in the group stages, he was so fast. In fact, it was on his second lap, something no one else really achieved, that he was able to put in the quickest time in Group B.
Oh, big slide from Jev on his start of the lap time. It's Jev v Gunther now. So Jean-Eric Verne and Maximilian Gunther. We've gone pictures side by side. So Gunther starts his lap time. Verne coming out of turn 8 down and gets his first sector time. It's a 24.819. First mini sector puts some 6,000ths of a second difference at the moment. So there's still a lot of time and delta between them. Verne flying through turns 10, 11, 12 and 13. He really is pushing. Up we go then in towards the last 2 corners. First sector for Gunther's faster by 11,000ths of a second into 24.718. Again, looking fast and looking strong. This is what we like to see. Verne into the last corner. He'll take the checker flag. Gunther's absolutely flying with a new gearbox being put in as well. 24,000 separate them. Verne is a 1:10.355. Gunther is coming up now. This is going to be a very close quarter-final. In we come. 19, then 20. Control the rear slide. Up towards the line. And Maximilian Gunther does it by 74,000ths of a second. Unbelievable stuff. Unbelievable. Right, we're going to transfer and hand over to the world feed.
End of lap there by Max Günther, but that's now 3 out of the 4 semi-finalists on exactly the same time, a 10.2.
Yeah, Gunther's middle sector was poor, wasn't it? 23.8 middle sector. His first and third sector is quicker, I think, than what we've seen from the Jags as well. So he just needs, if he tidies up the middle sector of the lap, it's going to be super tight because all, as you said, Alan, they've all done the same lap time in the quarters.
2:10.11. Well done, mate. Well done. Mode FP3. Mode FP3.
Right, hello, can everyone hear me? I hope they can. I've just asked Joshua if there's any other noise. Right, so I can hear things through what they're saying, and they cannot hear through this one. Right, out of just then, Gunther has won that round. Coincidentally, everyone on the same side of the sheet I am looking at has just won. So that's quite funny. I'm going to take you through the results of everything right now so far, while we are waiting for everything to get sorted in the other commentary box, and then you'll be joined by Joshua yet again. Right, so earlier on in Group A, obviously Cassidy, Verline, Bird and Frines all went through to this quarterfinals, and then Roland, Deruvilla, Tictum, Hughes, Bewemi, Fenestraz and Dennis were all knocked out. Then for Group B, we had Gunther, Evans, Van Dorn and Verne all go through, and then Da Costa, Nato, Degrassi, Muller, Sete Camera, Mortara and De Vries all went out. Oh, I was just wondering how to, for ad breaks, how to quiet it down. Yeah. You still haven't told me. Okay. Right, and then in the quarterfinals, just then we had Bird facing Verline, who Verline beat. So one of the championship contenders has beaten. All 3 of the championship contenders managed to go through in the quarterfinals. Right. Okay, now in the semi-finals, we Verline and Cassidy and Gunther and Evans. That will be an interesting thing. 3 of the championship contenders. Right. So, I have no idea right now. I really wish Joshua was back in the box, but I am very, very unsure right now. Right, so I am taking you through the quarterfinals of today. So far. Right, so. Right, I'm just going through everything, and I'm not sure what you can hear because Joshua has not fully explained whether people can hear or not. So I really wish Joshua would be helping right now and texting me back. So, right. So, have just been completed. The semi-finals shall be done in a moment. I'm going to guess it's this one and turn that down. Nope, it's not that one. And I would really wish that Joshua was helping right now on that one, because it's really, really loud in my ears and I would really need him right now. Joshua says TV. So the thing is, finally have gotten it sorted. I have muted the TV and I can actually speak without having anything. Right, so just about to read you through. Oh, they're coincidentally just about to come back on the TNT Sports, so oh, that's stress. Right, so I can unmute the TV now from all of that chaos. And right, so in the semi-finals, it seems that Verline should be facing Cassidy first, so that will be quite a interesting turn of events, especially since Verline did take away first position in the championships away from Cassidy yesterday in the race. And then that would mean that Evans and Gunther are facing each other in the semi-finals as well. So I wonder if we can get some of both of the championship leaders, like maybe 1 and 2, to both actually go through and have that battle between them, because that would be quite entertaining. Joshua is going to hand it over now. He's just coming to the box now. I just heard him come in, so you can be passed back to someone more capable. That now.
Thank you, Megan. Thank you, Megan. So here we go then. Time for the final. Let's catch up with the guys in the box.
A few minutes ago was Jean-Eric Verne. Nick is also down talking to the Frenchman.
Well, Jean-Eric Verne starting from P5, just missing out there to Max Günther. But how are your sort of expectations going into this race? Can you move forward from there?
Yeah, I think I proved yesterday that with the incident I had at the beginning with Jake, that I could overtake. So yeah, it's going to be a tough race. Less energy saved than yesterday, so maybe less opportunities. So yeah, I mean, I'm starting 6th. I guess I'm going to watch the firework in front. Lots going on in that race. So yeah, we'll see. A lot can happen on that race, as we've seen. So yeah, I guess I'll wait and see.
There's obviously, the Drivers' Championship battle going on at the front, but you're very much in the Teams' Championship battle as well, with Andretti just behind. Are you going to be keeping an eye on those drivers?
I mean, I'm going to do my race. Of course, I'm going to be very mindful of the guys I'm racing against. I don't want to interfere, too much in the championship fight. But in the same time, I mean, I'm going to race hard and fair. So yeah, we'll see how that plays out.
Hard and fair. Well done. Good luck. Thanks very much, Jean-Eric Verne.
Jean-Eric Verne there as well, giving his, I think, honest opinion about the whole matter. We've moved up now, as you can tell, to the next commentary box as well, to get ready for the, coming in now for the semi-final. So it's Verline v Cassidy. Everybody, once again, this is what I was pointing out to you yesterday, everybody who went out second went out ahead, if that makes sense to you. Everybody who went out second went out in the ahead position. So that's going to be quite something to watch coming into it. Anyway, we're underway then for this one. The drivers head out onto the circuit. I'm just trying to keep an eye out on so many different things at once at the moment because we've also got the F1 build-up show. We're on a quick off for this, by the way, if you hadn't noticed, because we've got to get over to the remainder of, well, we've got to get to Formula 1, to be fair. And trying to find a position for that is not the greatest as well on the monitor. There we go. Just keeping up with all of the action as well. So away we go then for the semi-finals. Let's see what we've got to contend with out here today then. It's going to be quite an entertaining fracas to see what semi-final number 1 looking incredibly stronger as well. So here we go. First sector time then for Pascal Wehrlein. It's a 24.838. Cassidy's a 24.707, so there's a tenth already between them as well. We've gone side by side on the TV pictures that we're watching up here in the commentary box B now for this one, so hopefully there's not too much difference, and you haven't seen much difference back at home, just a few errors. Yeah, it's a green screen, by the way, if you're wondering. Wehrlein attacking the curves much more aggressively than Cassidy, and you can really see why Cassidy is going ahead now. And fastest time then goes to Wehrlein. It's a 1:10.426. What's the time going to be for Nick Cassidy? Has he got anything left in the bag as well? He's faster in sector 2, faster in sector 3. Cassidy's coming into that part of the track now. He's still mega fast, isn't it? Cassidy's taken him. Cassidy gets it. It's a 1:10.263. So Pascal Wehrlein, the championship leader, will not get those crucial extra 3 points in the standings. He will have to settle at best 3rd or 4th on the grid. And it's going to be Cassidy going through to the next one in the final. So that is already a massive improvement. Cassidy goes to the final. So, yeah. Now it's Gunther v Evans. Cassidy really trying to get that season back up on the track, isn't he, as well, compared to what we saw. So it's Wehrlein who lost out to Cassidy in that session. And now we've got coming up some more as well. This is going to be very interesting. Here's the radio.
Get in, you beauty, get in.
What an emotional roller coaster. Their whole team, right? The engineers, they've all been on that journey. You know, I wonder if they all wear those sort of sensors, you know, the watches that tracks your mood over the last I
think it would be on hyper.
It
just goes to hyper as soon as you walk into the paddock and doesn't drop down. Crunches the curb there from Cassidy coming through the chicane.
Well, I imagine when he got that radio message from Phil Ingram, he felt like he won the lottery and lost the ticket. Now he's hit the jackpot with a spot in the final. Across the line we go for semi-final 2. Max Gunther versus Mitch Evans.
Yep, here it comes then, the next one. This is Gunther v Evans in the semi-final, as they will begin again pushing quite hard down the straight in towards turn 1. Now let's see, we're behind a little bit, so Gunther's first sector time is a 24.579. Interesting enough. So around about 23 seconds behind pictures. That's not bad at all, actually, for us here in Combox B. So, yeah, liking the look of that a lot. Let's see, Evans coming through now, and his sector time is... Oh, Evans is down. Evans down massively here as well. As what it was it 24.8. He's 3/10 slower in that middle sector. Gunther is a 1:10.232. Mitch Evans might start 3rd on the grid here, and it could be. So yeah, that could be 3rd or 4th. So this is bad news as well for everyone in the championship. We didn't want to let Cassidy come back through. The underdog really is going to. He doesn't make it easy for himself, does he? But it looks like it's going to be one of those days in Formula E where you just never know what's going to happen next. Into the last 2 corners then. Punt it hard. Gunther is a 1:10.232. Evans is a 1:10.278. It's that close. It's that close. But Maximilian Gunther goes through to the final. He denies Evans from getting there. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
In the semi-finals.
This is tense.
Isn't it? Isn't it? I was really rather hoping we'd get the 2 Jaguars going head-to-head, if I'm being completely selfish, because that would have been a bit interesting. But well, either way, there's still 3 points on offer, and it's not guaranteed it will go the way of Cassidy.
Yes, but if Cassidy does get it, that means that all four will be within 4 points. So the 3 drivers between 4 points and not 7.
Come on! Yeah, half a tenth win.
I love Maximilian Gunter's passion. He is absolutely over the moon. Like the cat that's got the cream. This is Mitch Evans' lap. You can see him just going through. And I wonder if we're going to pick up where it all went wrong for him there. But that first sector for Max Gunter was something else.
I wouldn't say it all went wrong. He was 400s behind Gunter in that. It was just, and it was a super middle sector as he came down into 16. So it's nip and tuck really between the two of them. It was a bit more in the first sector.
First sector was Gunter was quick, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, that's where he built out that advantage and held it to the end, really, despite Evans closing in the second and third sector.
I tell you what, I think that Evans and Verline will be doing a lot of cheering for Gunter in the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, they'll be buying him a beer at the gala tonight. Let's have a look and see how we got to the lineup for the finals then. So we had Bird and Verline, Freitz and Cassidy, Evans and Van Dorn, Vern and Gunter. Verline and Cassidy went head-to-head with one another, and then we had Gunter versus Evans. So close it is between those two lap times in the semi-finals. And you can see Cassidy now and Gunter will face off in that front row fight here for round 16, the final race of the 2024 Formula E season.
This
Always handy to have a backup handheld microphone nearby as well for when that very situation happens and you have to mute the television. So, what an exciting run around this has been. It really has. They're just advertising the British Grand Prix for MotoGP right now as well. That's coming up in 2 weeks' time on the 4th of August. Our coverage details for that will be announced in due course as well, as we'll be moving over to some new channels that you can watch certain things at as well in order to protect our systems. Now, yesterday, Evans did get through to the final. He beat as well Norman Nato in the semi-final. Well, to be fair, Evans yesterday in the quarterfinals, I can't actually see where he's gone through here. Roland Boemi, Freins, Verline, Nato Muller, Vern, Nato. So it must be Evans. Evans got through as well, so that was a surprise. So Evans beat, so yeah, okay. Bit of a confusing one, how that happened yesterday. But I wasn't commentating yesterday's qualifying session. I'm commentating on today's, which is always a fun change around. But yeah, always looking good. Hopefully you're enjoying our coverage of the Formula 1 pre-show. That's just kicking off now as well. I'll be joining them shortly as well. Megan's just sitting by, making sure it's all okay. As soon as we're done here, we're not going to listen to any of the pulse hits, and we're going to go straight off air so we can get over to what we need to do with Formula 1 and their session as well. And we'll be hearing, once again, all the thoughts and reactions from everybody else. It's going to be an interesting one. Yeah, looking at it as well. Look at Jake Dennis, the fast lap 121.5, and here we're seeing 116s qualifying their pole position from Nick Cassidy last year in the race. That was a 110.092. So it is something that does get up very much along the front. So yeah, going to be a lot of fun, this one. So the final is Cassidy versus Gunter. That'll be coming up in around about 7 minutes' time. Who's your pick for pole position? Look at that. Cassidy or Gunter on the pick a pole here. Always going to be one to watch, actually. I'm actually very much looking forward to this. We've got the two championship... Well, the championship... Well, he was the championship leader coming into this weekend. Now he's dropped down to third. And then Gunter. Gunter's got nothing to lose. So Gunter's going to really push hard in this session. And he really wants it as well. So watch out for Gunter. And second row is going to consist of Verline and Evans. It's almost too much to call of how good this race is going to be. Anyway, let's head back over to JJ for all the latest news as well as we gear up for the final qualifying of the London E-Prix here in 2024.
So then, here we are, ready to go for the final in the duels of round 16 of the 2024 ABB FIA Formula E World Championship. It'll be Nick Cassidy versus Maximilian Günther, Maserati versus Jaguar. Who is going to be claiming pole position and those all-important 3 points as well? Nick Cassidy needs those 3 points to be within 4 points of the championship lead going into the final race of the season. You can see what it looks like qualifying-wise for Max Günther. 11th position for him yesterday, 19th of the checkered flag. But that doesn't tell the full story. He was bow on for a podium, wasn't he? And then the gearbox failed, and unfortunately for him, it didn't quite work out. But you can see him here visualising the lap as he gets ready to go out for that final lap. This is Mitch Evans, eliminated from qualifying in the semi-finals. Pole position 24 hours ago. And we'll have a look at his flying lap and see if we can work out, as he comes out of the timeline, actually, as a matter of fact, there. Get the reaction inside the Jaguar garage and the Porsche garage there as well in particular. Well, you can see what that means for Floring and Modlinger. So then a few moments to go then. Let's go down to Porsche driver Pascal Wehrlein, who, of course, did not make it through into the finals, but will line up on the second row of the grid for a second day in succession.
Well, joining me now is Pascal Wehrlein. Pascal, you will be starting from P4, but going into this race still current championship leader. What's the approach going to be for the start? Because we know how critical it is here in London.
Well, the target is clear, to win the race again. Our target for qualifying was to be in the first 2 rows. We achieved that. Yeah, but both Jaguars are in front, so it's not going to be easy. But yeah, I like that challenge. I mean, whoever will finish the race in front of us probably will win. So yeah, good luck.
Well, it was a race-defining move yesterday when you overtook Mitch Evans on the start-finish rate. So I guess it's just a repeat performance of that.
We will try.
All right, thanks very much, Pascal Wehrlein.
Short, succinct and to the point there for Pascal Wehrlein. Formula E predictor, don't forget about that on the top left-hand corner of your screen as the crowd in London watch on and wonder whether this man here, Maximilian Günther, will be lining up on pole position. Last time he started from pole position was Jakarta in 2023. So he'll be wanting to do that because last time he was on pole position, he went and won it, if you remember, in that phenomenal race when we were in Indonesia. On the other side of the coin, Nick Cassidy, no pole positions so far this year. He's only
he was on pole position last year.
He was, yeah, twice here last year. So he knows what he's doing. Anyway, lines up at the end of the pit lane then, ready to go for this one.
He's fighting for a world championship, man. I think he knows what he's doing.
Certainly more than I do, that's for sure. Who's your money on then, chaps? Go on, Corinne.
I'm going to go Cassidy.
I'm going Günther for pole.
Well, I like a bit of difference. Let's see how we got here, though, for the finals then. So you can see Cassidy versus Günther in the finals. They faced off with Wehrlein and Evans, respectively. Those 2 drivers then knocked out. So second row starts for Pascal Wehrlein and for Mitch Evans, both of those championship contenders. And the front row will be occupied by either Nick Cassidy or Maximilian Günther, but in which order? And again, who will be getting those 3 points for pole? We'll find out in a few moments' time. The drivers are ready to head onto the track as we get the final duel underway for 2024. 60% of you reckon it will go the way of Nick Cassidy, but 40% are siding with Max Günther. He's shown great pace. He's got no ties in the championship. Let's see whether the German driver in the Maserati can do the business. There's Mitch Evans just walking back to the Jaguar garage. Second row start for him. Good position. Nothing really too much to worry about.
This is when we see Mitch Evans' acting skills because, you know, in his Jaguar racing suit, he's got to be happy for his team and do the clapping that everyone does if Cassidy gets it. But actually, he's cheering for the other guy not to take 3 points off him.
Just on the other side as well, I know we were talking about the Drivers' Championship a lot as we look at those point standings on your screen at the moment. A pole for Cassidy would also put Jaguar 39 points ahead of Porsche in the Teams' Championship with only 44 left on the table here this afternoon.
I think that Teams' Championship is very much in the control of Jaguar, especially with the way the qualifying set up. It's the Manufacturers' Trophy that was so much closer, with Jaguar creeping right onto the back of Porsche for that one as well. It's about 8 points, I think, was the difference. So from that perspective, that one is definitely one that is also very important for the 2 manufacturers.
Yeah, but the only people who care about the teams and manufacturers ones are the ones in the teams and manufacturers.
And they're the ones that are actually running the teams and the manufacturers.
Here we go then. This is the big one. Who's going to have pole position for the London E-Prix? It's going to be Cassidy versus Gunther. Now, if Gunther takes it, he will have a lot to do here. He's looking for 2 race 2 poles in a row. Can he do it? If he does, he'll close up on the title hunt at the front as well, where he drastically needs 3 points, and he really would. Away we go then for the final qualifying of Season 10 of ABB FIA Formula E. Come on, Cassidy, let's go Gunther as well, says the Versatile as well. So everyone just very much on a neutral playing field here. You don't know whether Gunther wants a pole, you don't know whether or not you want Cassidy to get in for the championship. It's so much out here at the moment, but first sector as well. Cassidy's out first as well now. Let's have a look. Cassidy's got a 24.618, so he's doing quite well so far. Then it's a 23.597 for the second sector. Gunther's a 24.621 on first sector. Second sector 23.707, so Cassidy could have it. Cassidy does a benchmark. It's a 109.871, an absolutely storming time there from Cassidy. What can Gunther do though? This is going to be the crunch point. I know the graphics might be ahead, but I'm looking directly at my monitor. I don't want this spoiled for myself, so that you have a genuine reaction at home. Into the last corners then as well we come. We already know Cassidy's time is the 109.871. Is that enough? Because Gunther is catching him. 49 thousandths of a second difference as he comes into turn 19, into turn 20. He puts the pedal down. Who's on pole position for the London E-Prix? It's Cassidy! Nick Cassidy takes pole, and that is so crucial because it gives him 3 extra World Championship points and moves Jaguar 39 clear with 44 on the board in the race. Fantastic! Cassidy on pole, Gunther second as well. So Cassidy is on pole as well. He had all his hopes ripped away, but not by fault of his own. This circuit, and today, after being riddled with brake issues, Cassidy trumps his competition. Absolutely, the Versatile. Love that. Wow. 3 championship protagonists will do battle at London to decide the World Championship of Season 10. That gets underway at 4:30 UK time for our coverage build-up. Cassidy's on pole, and it's road 2 for Evans and Verline, and Gunther's in between them. We're in for a classic duel. Thanks for your company. I'm off to Formula 1. Formula E's title decider will be live at 4:30. See you later. Bye-bye.